Hi everyone, Pam Gregory, astrologer. I'm going to be speaking to you today about the second half of March and in particular the total solar eclipse that we have coming up on the 20th. But we also have a powerful culmination happening in this second half of March because we have the 7th of 7 exact squares between Uranus and Pluto on the 16th and 17th of March. And this aspect, which I've spoken and written about a great deal over the last 3 years, has really been building through that whole time, and now we have the peak, the final square. And many people have felt over the last 3 years a quickening of energy because Uranus is always associated with things being speeded up. They've gone through awakenings or had revelations, or many have had some out of the blue life-changing opportunities coming their way. All of those things are very associated with the Uranus-Pluto symbolism. But it's also an aspect which is very intense, and many people have felt that intensity building and building over the last 3 years. So whether it's been emotional intensity, financial, work pressure, health-related issues, or time pressure, depending on where it's aspected to your chart, people have really felt that intensity throughout that whole period. But now we're coming to the peak. So on the 16th and 17th of March, as I say, we have this final square, final exact square. And I've spoken about the symbolism often in the world. It's connected to turbulence and uprisings and unpredictability and sudden disruptive events, cyber attacks, all that kind of thing is related to the Uranus-Pluto square. And if you go back in the videos I've been doing over the months, you'll hear me talking about it. But in the middle of the month, there's a particularly strong form of this energy because transiting Mars comes to conjunct, to join Uranus and square Pluto. So it energizes that Uranus-Pluto square. And that's quite a volatile and combustible energy. It's very assertive, it's quite impetuous and easy to rise. So if you're listening to this video before the 11th of March, just think before you speak, particularly over those 2 days, because it can be a little bit quick to anger, let's say. It's very assertive and volatile. However, on a personal level, this Uranus-Pluto square is wonderful for awakenings and personal transformation. Uranus is actually known as the Great Awakener. And although many people have already had such experiences, I think there will be many more personal breakthroughs, energy shifts, revelations, particularly around the middle of the month, anywhere from the 11th through to the 16th, 17th, could be well beyond that, because in fact we're going to continue to experience the Uranus-Pluto symbolism for another 3 years, but this is just a particular peak. And the symbolism is also about individuation, becoming the individual that you're meant to become. Are you really living your passion and joy fully on a day-to-day basis? You may actually have to break the habits of a lifetime in order to become who you're meant to become. You may have to even break your own rules, break your own paradigm. If you're someone who's always lived in others' expectations, you may start to act quite radically in order to achieve that sense of individuality. So it's very strong, this symbolism. Then 4 days later, on March the 20th, we have a new moon in Pisces at 29:27 of Pisces. And this happens at 2:36 a.m. Pacific, 9:36 a.m. GMT. And people who'll be likely to feel this most are people born any year between the 19th and 23rd of March or June, or the 20th to the 25th of September or December. Now, this isn't just a regular new moon, and new moons always symbolise new beginnings. It's a solar eclipse, so that means it's a really big new beginning, and it will be falling in everyone's chart in a particular area of life. It's also a total solar eclipse, makes it more powerful, and it will be visible from both the UK and Northern Europe. So we'll be able to see it clearly because it's happening in the morning. Not only that, it's also a supermoon, And what that means is that the moon is at one of its closest points in its orbit to the Earth. So it exerts a much stronger gravitational pull on the tides and also on the electromagnetic field of the Earth. So people experience this in different ways. Some people feel kind of out of sorts and aches and pains as their own personal electromagnetic field tries to adjust to the changed field of the Earth. Others have heightened perceptions, they have downloads of information. And sensitive people really feel this. I've got many friends and clients who experience these new moons, full moons, and particularly eclipses very, very strongly. Also, it's at the final degree of the zodiac. 29, 27 of Pisces. 29 degrees of Pisces is known as a critical degree. It's very important, but it's also conjunct the first sign of the zodiac. So if you have any planets or angles at 0 of Aries, Cancer, Libra or Capricorn, you'll be likely to feel this eclipse very strongly. And because this total solar eclipse supermoon is coming so close to that final Uranus-Pluto square, this really does feel to me like the end of the old and the beginning of the new. And that there's such a sense of paradigm shift, and part of this paradigm shift for me is, and I believe for many people, is really understanding that everything is energy and vibration. We are energy and vibration, and we truly are co-creators of our reality. We live from the inside out, not the outside in. And if you've ever had your birth chart consulted, you will know that everything in your psyche and in your life is already in that acorn that is the birth chart, and it's up to us to fully express that unique pattern. So a very important time of paradigm shift, of shifting consciousness as well. That's what this particular period is really all about, and it's very exciting. It's recognizing our own empowerment as well. Now, it's also a very spiritual solar eclipse because we have 5 planets in Pisces. We have the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Neptune and Chiron. And so it's a wonderful time to tune in. This will bring a finer perception in for that period of the eclipse. I really suggest that you spend time in nature and also meditate, if you meditate regularly, over that period of the eclipse. Because just 13 hours later, the Sun moves into Aries and we have the spring equinox. And at these times, the magnetic field of the Earth drops. And that's undoubtedly why the ancient peoples believed that these were portals, these times were portals. That's why they held ceremonies then, because they believed that with that drop in the electromagnetic field, we could access higher realms more easily. So again, this wonderful feeling of shifting energy from the old to the new. Really an enormous time of potential astrologically, and an extraordinary time of personal transformation coming up for us. So ask yourself where this falls in your chart. Ask yourself if you're fully living your passion and joy, and also what identity is waiting to emerge for you. It may have seemed a little foggy or unclear over the last few months. We've been in a kind of in-between time, but with these sweeps of strong energy, your new identity should start to become very clear. And also what revelations and new awakenings are going to unfold for you over this very powerful period. Really enjoy this second half of March, and in particular the total solar eclipse. And if you'd like more information about my book, or I send out free monthly information about a 2,000-word newsletter every month for free, just check out my website, www.thenextstep.uk.com. And thanks for listening.